Thanks to your practice and support holding down the fort, Ginger, Reverend April, Reverend Ginger, and I had a week-long annual Gyomunim's retreat at the One Dharma Center in upstate New York. Do you know what a Gyomunim is? Gyomunim's retreat. Gyomunim. So if you cannot pronounce correctly, don't worry. Okay, don't worry. Can you say Gyomunim? Okay, good. Now you're empowered that you're able to say this word. Gyomunim refers to an ordained one Buddhist teacher. So altogether, 60 Gyomunims gathered from the east, west coast, Canada, Argentina, and Brazil. Many Gyomunims asked us, who is taking care of our temple in North Carolina while we are gone? We happily explained that our temple members are taking care of everything and running temple programs. I said that our folks enjoy doing that, having a party while we are gone. Did you have a good party? In this year's retreat, we are very blessed to receive a series of Dharma teachings from Venerable Chasan, the former head Dharma master. He is now 83 years old. He made a special visit to support all the Gyomunim's Dharma practice. After the inspiring retreat, 15 Gyomunims stayed for 3 more days to attend the ministry empowering camp. With the support from the One Dharma Center, I designed this camp for Gyomunims who wish to strengthen their skills in learning Dharma programs in English. There are many Gyomunims who hope to create a beautiful practice community like us, but they have felt timid or limited by their language ability. I have believed that Gyomunims can empower themselves by supporting and learning from each other through our struggles and successes. Our camp started with the hokey pokey dance. I didn't know other Gyomunims loved to dance like I do. We all had so much fun. I rediscovered how wonderful and beautiful each and every Gyomunim is. The program of the empowerment camp included role play with a Q&A sessions, exercise for guided meditation, and creative chanting, diction practice with a Lara as guidance for singing and chanting in English, exercise and prayer at the different prayer stations, exercise for leading a Dharma discussion, practicing the common frequent mistakes in pronunciation and grammar. We also spent a lot of time discussing how to overcome fear and drop our self-consciousness about using English in our Dharma work. As you may know, that all the Gyomunims who speak English as their second language struggle almost every single day. Except for Reverend Grace, who is Canadian, and Reverend Dathan, who is American, the rest of us who work in the Americas feel challenged because of our limitations of language and cultural understanding. This is a universal challenge we all carry as long as we live in North America. Over the years, I have developed a brilliant new term for this experience: English language privilege. English language privilege. What I mean is, native English speakers effortlessly navigate the English-speaking world, whereas those who acquire English as a second language must always exert more energy and effort to make themselves understood. In addition, in international circles, English is the first and primary world language used. So if you are able to speak good English, you are automatically in a more advantageous place in the world. So this is what I mean, English language privilege. A 교무님 shared her story. On a visit to a post office, she could not understand what the postal worker said. Pardon me? Say again, please. She still could not understand the postal worker. After she asked the clerk 3 times to repeat himself, he yelled, "Are you stupid?" The 교무님 felt so embarrassed, and everyone in line held their breath in silence. Since then, she has been afraid of speaking English when she is doing errands. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So if you ever feel small, intimidated, or inferior, take a deep look at whether you are consenting to that feeling. During the camp, I shared some ways to overcome nervousness when speaking another language. I found some tips from the blog eslanguages.com. It says, first, understand your fear. What exactly are you afraid of? Anxiety about speaking in a foreign language usually boils down to fear of failure, or fear of being negatively evaluated. Work out where you get stuck in conversations. The desire for perfection may be holding you back. You will never speak a language fluently without speaking a broken version of it first. Well, our lives are the same way, aren't they? Without first having broken or challenging experience in life, we will not reach fluency in our life journey. Okay, back to the ESL tips. Smile. You will get a much better response if you approach the conversation with a smile. Probably that's why I kept smiling. One-on-one conversations are easier. This is why when we have 교무님s or students visit us, I like to send them individually to visit your homes. With a one-on-one conversation and interactions, they can build a much closer bond with you, which will help them break down their language fears. And lastly, control the speed of the conversation. If you speak slowly and clearly, this should encourage your conversation partner to also speak slowly and clearly. So, a lot of 교무님s and visiting students, they say, "Oh, I really appreciate so-and-so speaking so clearly. That's very thoughtful, to help us to really understand." Well, would you agree with these ESL tips? We also had some group discussions with these prompting questions. What is your concern in approaching Westerners? What limits your confidence when you teach Dharma in English? What is your greatest difficulty in connecting with Americans? And how do you want to overcome it? After sharing our thoughts with each other, we 교무님s realize that we are all in the same boat. I am not alone. We all have similar concerns, fear, and feeling of limitation. While I was preparing for the ministry empowering camp, some of our temple members shared their thoughts, and I delivered them to other 교무님s. 1. Dear 교무님s, speak from the heart. Do not worry about language. Don't worry about your English speaking ability. Just jump in the deep end of the pool and go for it. Put lots of love in your interactions and have some humor. What you say is important, but how you deliver it is even more important. Remember, language is the second tool. The best teaching is your wholehearted, pure energy, free from fear and self-consciousness. 2. Dear 교무님s, keep creating a welcoming culture. Visitors are curious, but they may feel intimidated or cautious. Make sure that they feel really welcomed through your tone of voice, eye contact, and facial expressions like smiling. 3. Be cautious with the topics involving miracles, supernatural events, reincarnation, and karma. And be very sensitive with the issues of gender diversity, such as homosexuality, bisexuality, transgender spectrum. Non-judgmental terminology can be very important. Be very sensitive with issues involving racism or sexism. These are very hot button issues for Americans. Don't be afraid to ask for advice about all these things. There are diverse opinions on these matters. So dear 교무님s, be bold. Dear 교무님s, don't hesitate to ask for input from members. For example, what shall I talk about for the next Dharma talk? This can make folks feel included and empowered as a part of the temple community. Please be eager to ask for help from members, help with the language or tasks or money or anything. Many people would like to help but don't know how. Most Americans are not familiar with the full kneeling bows. One member said, "It was a bit shocking for me, but make them do it anyway. It's good for them." Don't be afraid to talk about or explain Korean culture. Most Americans are curious and respectful and can learn a lot from you. It's a very interesting way to convey the Dharma. Lastly, many Americans talked too much and too loudly. Help them to be quieter by modeling that behavior and be patient with how long it takes them to catch on. Hearing all these suggestions, the 교무님s in the retreat were very, very touched. They felt deeply grateful for the caring, honest sharing from our North Carolina temple family. The 교무님s who participated in the ministry empowering camp also expressed their optimism and hopefulness. I can tell they are empowered. I also experienced self-empowerment through lifting and empowering other 교무님s. I first thought of this camp 2 years ago and now it has been realized. It was made possible because of the great teamwork with the Reverend Ginger and Reverend April. And we are able to share and lift each other up because we have you. We have you in our community. Not only have we received your ongoing kind support, your energy of practice, but you have been the Dharma guinea pigs in our laboratory for many years. Through our experiments, we have developed ideas and wisdom, and we are able to share that with others now. Empowering ourselves and empowering the community takes patience and dedication. And it's lots of fun. It's a good feeling to be on this journey. Empowerment is the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in living one's life and claiming one's rights. Through the empowerment journey, we lift and support one another. In order to empower ourselves, we need to overcome any reluctance and any fear of failure. Ordained Won Buddhist teachers, 교무님s, have fears too. But with effort and community support, we shall overcome our fears. On our road trip back home, I learned a song, Blackbird, from Paul McCartney. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you're only waiting for this moment to arise. This song expresses our self-empowerment by using our frailty as a source of strength. Blackbird sing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. Everyone has hang-ups and fears that inhibit themselves. By letting go of our hang-ups and fears, we learn to fly. We learn to manifest our uninhibited and free self. In this state, we can be infinitely creative and powerful. And during the retreat, I learned to ride a bike. I didn't quite learn to fly, but 30 years ago, I rode a bicycle. I ran into a big tree. So I had a fear. And then I saw a little bike over there and then tried, and I was able to ride bike. It was a great feeling. I feel powerful. I feel empowered. As you know, most 교무님s can sing and chant beautifully. Toward the end of the empowerment camp, they felt comfortable leading a sound healing session. Witnessing how they let the power of their inner voice flow out, I thought of this quote. Don't ever compare yourself to others. You are not a copy, you are an original. Craft your own individuality and sense of style, and just be yourself. Trying to be someone else will only frustrate you and make you unhappy and miserable. has your back. If someone has your back, you know that person will help you get up when you fall. However, their existence is impermanent. They cannot always be there for you. When you chant, until we attain the great empowerment of Il One, what do you feel? Do you feel empowered? When I chant great empowerment of Il One, I feel the infinite potential and inner power within. I feel Il One has my back. The truth of Il One has our back and does not have an expiration date. Personal empowerment comes from releasing the need and desire to be in control. This is a great paradox. In Buddhist practice, the more we give up, the more power is given. For me, I must let go of my egoistic belief that inhibits my ability. Well, I was not born in America. I'm different. I'll never be like them, so I cannot do it. When we free ourselves from our own thinking box and our own comfort zone, greater wisdom and power arise. This is an example of great empowerment of Il One. In order to attain the empowerment of Il One, we should let go of the desire of attainment. In order to attain the empowerment of Il One, we empty our thoughts, we allow our bright wisdom to arise, and we just do it. During the ministry empowering camp, we had another interesting exercise. I asked 교무님s to forget about their temple's existing programs and create a totally new, one-of-a-kind meditation service. I was so amazed at how creative these empowered 교무님s were and how varied the Sunday Dharma service programs could be. We all realized that nobody is holding us to be a certain way. We are already free. We become confident and creative when we believe in ourselves and step beyond our limits. One of the campers, Reverend MJ, and she was here when we were in the middle of our temple construction project as an intern student. And when I went to the stones, place, I found a beautiful white bench shape of rock. And I said, oh, I love that rock. And she said, why don't I buy the rock for the temple? I prayed for 100 days, and each day I made an offering, $1 prayer donation offering. So I have $100 from my 100 days prayer offering. And that rock was just $100. So one of the rock, whenever I sit right there, that's right in front of our Dharma hall, whenever I sit there, I think of our generosity and sweetheart, the kind and connection to our community. And so this Reverend MJ, beautiful Reverend, she shared that sometimes she does not understand what Americans are saying, and neither do Americans understand what she's saying. But that she is satisfied with her English. After our ministry empowering camp, she said, I am now more satisfied with my English. She said it with her cute smile, and we all laughed so hard. Throughout the camp, the 교무님s experienced acceptance and gratitude for what they can do. When Reverend MJ said that she is satisfied with her English, I realized Now is the time we can empower ourselves, not after we master our language skills. Now is when we can empower ourselves, not tomorrow, not after raising your children, not after getting a promotion, and not even 5 minutes from now. So we call the power of now, empowerment now, right now.